Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Welcome back, everyone. We're going to talk about this thing called manifesting. What you think becomes your reality. Before we even get to that, there's other things along the way, like intention and integrity. That's all part of it. And she's somebody that can help move your life along with a lot of these principles through life coaching, lots of different programs. And she's Holly Wells. She's back with us. Hey, Holly, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
So before we even begin, yesterday was August 8th, and they say it's 888 because if you take 2024 and add it up, or if you multiply it, it comes up to 8. Said to be a magical day where whatever you dream, especially with abundance, if you have true intention, like you truly believe in what you're thinking or what you want, that could begin the process yesterday of coming to you. Are you aware of that day?
Yes, and I love that you brought this up. It was definitely in my notes, but I wasn't going to start with it. But I love jumping right in with it because, yes, I think of it as what you just said, the 888. In my circles that I was dealing with, they're calling it the triple infinity portal. So that makes it sound even more jazzy and fun, right? Triple infinity, because what you just said with numerology and the 888. And if you look at things, which I'm really visual and love numbers and love energy flow and just how it looks, the 8 looks like continuous motion, right?
Infinity,
So
infinity. Yeah.
yeah. So I've
Huh.
long kind of had a mini fixation on this concept, the infinity. So yesterday being the triple infinity portal is exactly right. It's called the Lion's Gate because it's in the sign
Ah.
of Leo, right? So if you think about that, everything that we did yesterday and in the cosmic world, as we talked about before, even though it was yesterday, don't feel like your listeners, if they didn't do anything yesterday, missed it. Because in the cosmic sense, the energy from yesterday is still strong today. They can still jump on this portal. So
Hmm.
thinking with intention, what we're going to talk about, authenticity, and then manifesting, bringing things into reality. That's the important stuff, right? But what we're doing, I want to just quickly talk about some of the groundwork we've talked about, you and I, in previous sessions before, just
Sure.
to make sure that when you actually take these action steps and manifest something, that you are hitting the ground running and continue to get your eye on the prize to reach your end goal versus just randomly asking questions, bothering significant people that you're going to get requests from, and then being able to clearly articulate what it is you want from them when, so that you're able to then take it and move forward productively, right? So, but going back to yesterday, the Lion's Gate, yes, we were supposed to be moving forward, and hopefully everyone did and took advantage of that, but still today can take advantage of moving forward with courage, strength, and integrity, right? Like the lion, he comes with pride and all that strength of courage. So, yes, so I love it.
Hmm. I think back to yesterday and I knew what day it was, but I didn't really have anything going on where I like to see things propel. In my world, I know what I want. I'm pretty clear about that in terms of manifesting it, and we're going to get to that. A
Yes.
lot of it in lies the intention. Before we move forward, while we're talking about the universe, dates, and things like that, Mercury retrograde. Is that on your radar? Because we're just entering
Always
one
is.
now. Okay. All right.
Yes, and
Thoughts?
similarly, these are all great topics. I love what you're asking because Mercury retrograde, I myself and a lot of people, completely opposite spin, right? We all hear the Lion's Gate, we all hear all these infinity portals, all this sounds great, right? And I know myself and many others, when you hear the words you just said instead, Mercury retrograde might make you shy away from it or even feel apprehensive, all the opposite negative things, right? Take you down because Mercury retrograde, if people are typically aware of it, is when the planet appears from where we are at the Earth to be going backwards. And so that's kind of like it seems like a negative reaction sometimes with technology or something that might be going on. There's often miscommunication amongst people that you've been trying to get something done with. So that's why it has this negative connotation,
Yeah.
is because of the things I just said. But if you are aware of what it is and don't come at it with these negative or kind of um bad feelings, you're not going to kind of keep them going. Because again, if you think about it, especially with the Lionsgate and all these things, what it's really going to do is bring this back into your future. So it's one of those things where, like everything, that's why I always like to clean things up before you kind of go to the next step, because that's what retrograde is. It's just pulling back crap you haven't dealt with before. So if you're kind of throwing a Band-Aid on it and letting it go, or just leaving clutter around and just jumping forward to kind of purge your way like a big bull at China shop and move forward, you're going to get hung up on the stuff your incompletes you didn't fix before. So that's one of the things that I would love to talk about today, as you mentioned, with integrity and authenticity, is that when you want to move forward and manifest, you really want to start with a good basis, a good solid basis, So that's what we talked about before in our previous sessions. We kind of went and jumped in and looked at my I Love Nature founding principles, which, to easy remember they spelled respect. So that to me was always easy, because again, it's having these foundation principles that are we talked about the Olympics starting, right? You practice these things and you practice them again and again and again, so that they're innate, they're drilled into you. It's second nature. So you go out there, you know how to feel your body, you know how to pick yourself up, my freedom to fail. That doesn't mean you're looking for things to fail at. What it means is that when you fail at something, you're not getting stuck, you're not getting hung up. You don't even have the fear to start trying something because you feel you're going to fail and let someone down. So you're afraid to even step out and do something, right? So freedom to fail doesn't mean failing is good. What it does mean is give yourself the freedom to fail, and we're all going to fail. None of us are perfect. We're not great at everything, right? So that's why you would need to know what you're good at, what you need assistance from others with, hopefully know who those people are, know your trusted partners, so that when you have things that need to get done that are outside of your bandwidth, what you're not core great at, that's when you bring in one of your partners that you're like, wow, you know what? You don't have time, nor you need to be great at everything or be an expert at everything. You really need to hone in and practice what you love, right? Like that's what you need to do, is focus in and should spend your time on doing the things you like and you love and that give you joy. That's what we all should be doing. And then leaning on the partners out there that have the opposite tasks, that you can then partner with strategically when the time is appropriate, to then really move forward and bring your tactical and strategic steps and dreams into reality, right? So that's kind of the goal, and the focus is to always have a long-term plan, a tactical plan with all of these things in place, but then who and when to count on other people, right? And you've also cleaned yourself up in your act, so that when you say things with integrity and authenticity, you're coming to the board and you're strategically always putting your best foot forward. You're being very clear on your requests. It's very appropriately when you ask things and give people enough time leadway to give you an effective response, to put you in the best situation to be successful.
Funny you're saying this, because I sent an email late yesterday, and it was to a colleague basically about picking his brain about what you're talking about. Not even kidding. And I held back from sending it. And we've had these conversations in the past, but I was like, you know what? Something tells me. So we're going to get together. We're going to talk. But it's about this. So when we talk about integrity, how do you define integrity, and how do you apply it to this whole process of getting what you feel you deserve in life?
Yes, that's really key for me. So integrity, again, one of my mentors was Marsha Weeder, and she's got a great way. She calls intention and integrity your rudder, right? It's kind of like the whole thing on the ship that keeps you going. So if you don't have personal integrity and know what your authentic self is, that's going to, in times of stress, let you get knocked off course. It's kind of what I just said. So if we know in today's world, we're being asked to do many things. If you're not, bless you. I feel that there's people coming at me from all over the place. Some of them are appropriate and some are not, right? And so it's really easy when someone is clear on what their intention is and what your own personal authenticity is, to know when something's coming that's not that important to you. And doesn't mean ignore it, but it's certainly a way to prioritize our work effort or what's in front of us just in our life in general. So because with so many things going on, especially in this electronic world, people can kind of reach you all the time and pester you or annoy you or contact you, reach you when they need something important right away, urgently, which is great, right? So again, I love technology, but I also see and know the pitfalls of it, right? So just because, like you said, you can get a hold of someone, maybe you shouldn't. It's one of those things, like sending an
Mm,
email is always great, but sometimes something is more important to say in person because, and I don't know what your email was about, but you'd mentioned it was someone you talked to often, so I'm sure it would have been fine. But to pick someone's brain, sometimes just sending something out there that you're thinking about late at night, especially like that, you might not be in your most articulate state. You've been thinking about this for maybe an hour or more, so you're really in some nitty gritty of it. So sending something out at that time of night might hit somebody unassuming. They might be looking at it right before going to bed, read it the wrong way, or not get what you fully meant by the whole thing, and then just go off and now have their whole night disrupted, right? Whereas your ask was really just to pick their brain and on a topic you're really comfortable with and just wanted to noodle and get their ideas from, right? So, but that could really not be received by the other party. And I don't know, I'm just giving that as an example, but
sure.
that some things are more appropriate to be face to face or to have a meeting. Some things it's 100% appropriate to send a quick email off and get a response and not bother someone because it doesn't warrant that. So know your audience and know the topic.
I've always felt that if you're going to send an email, text, anything, that you have to filter it through these three things. Is it kind? Is it necessary? And is it true? So sit on it, unless it's like absolutely urgent. Lean back on it and filter through that. Because a lot of times we get triggered, it's like, and you shoot out a text, lean back on it, put
Nice.
it through the filter. And I think you'd
I
find
love it.
you're not going to send it. Probably not.
Yes, it's very thoughtful and it's respectful of other people's time. And you'll get a better response. I'm sure you do over the time. Be very clear in your request.
Hmm.
That's another thing. When you have a request and you're going to bother someone for something, know what it is you're asking. Ask for it very clearly. Give people a deadline, right? All
Mm,
these things are helpful so that they know how best to communicate back to you. I need this in a letter. I need to have you call me and leave me a voicemail. I need to borrow money and I need how much and by when. Whatever it is you need. If you want a specific ask to be granted, you have to specifically ask it and of the right source, right? All those things are true. So that's right. That's great.
wow. I find it interesting that you embrace energy and manifesting in all of these concepts, but the life coach in you just came out in terms of sending an email and being clear what you want in terms of the direction. That's like so life coach.
It
Yeah.
is because you don't want to alienate your requesters, right? So typically things that we want to request from someone, they're typically higher up than us if you think of it that way. So think of their time as valuable. So that's where I've always done very well in my professional life is I'm really good at talking to executives because I think of that. When I think of executives, I think almost like thinking bullet points, give
Yeah.
them the highlights. I self-edit all the time.
Same.
And maybe this is better. This is where sometimes it's that female male style where they don't need to know all the history and how you got there. What's the ask? Start with what do you need to know? What do you want to ask for them? Let them ask you if they need more details, right?
Yeah.
If they only have 10 minutes, don't spend 9 of it telling them your side of things. You've just wasted their time and they're just like, yep, they're busy. They would love to help you, but you're spending all this time giving them history that they probably don't even care about. So it's very important to be clear on your time with people you're asking, what you're asking, and just be mindful.
Yeah. Get to the point. That's really what it is. Keep it simple. Keep it simple. So, intention and integrity. We talked about the integrity, the intention. Let's look at that.
Yes. So that again is, for me, intention is the groundwork of what you're doing now and what it's laying upon. That's why I always like to say, build your foundation principles and your groundwork and have those practices in place so that all of your intention sits on that naturally, comfortably. And that's where you build and show your authenticity, right? So if you have all the groundwork there and you're not then searching and struggling with what your intention is, then you can just move forward freely because you're very firmly grounded. And so your intention is known. It's known to you. It's your integrity is there. Your authentic self is very clear to you. Because again, we're talking about multidimensionality. That's one of the key things about New Leaf Humanity Solar is the multidimensionality. So that really, to follow that thread through, we have an emotional body, we have a mental body, a physical body, a spiritual body, right? All these different bodies. And so to me, your intention is having all of that aligned. So that's why that groundwork that we do first is important. So then when you're actually acting as your full multidimensional self, you have all that with you, right? It's all your various selves. You're emotionally committed in the moment. You are feeling strong. Your body is physically there. You've fed yourself some good food. You've gotten good sleep the night before. Physically, your appearance is dressed. You're dressed well. You're looking good. I mean, it's just all of it is a great package. So that's what I think of with intention is bringing all of yourselves to the game and having them all teed up and knowing what the game plan is so that they're ready to act.
And is it that point where now you're ready to truly manifest?
I think it is, because once you're there, you've already, again, hopefully you've had a roadmap, always know long and short-term goals, and you kind of have them mapped out, have your roadmap in place. But yes, once you have your tactical and strategic actions and game plan, and you have your foundation, that's when you can most efficiently and successfully manifest things, because you have the right knowledge and game plan to take action.
So let's look at, and we're in retrograde. So letting go hypothetical. I'm sure people have asked you, excuse me, this number of times, manifesting the perfect person in your life, the right partner for you. Maybe you went through some relationships, it just didn't support. Now it's time to get serious. What if you're in somewhat of a relationship or maybe a major one, but you want to manifest the right one? Do you have to release this one for this one to come along?
Of course. Yes. That's kind of exactly a perfect lead in. You're so good. I should be paying you for all of this. Your segues are wonderful. Are you in my head?
Maybe I am. I don't know.
Because part of intention is integrity. We kind of talked about that. And integrity is literally that, cleaning up incompletes or things before you move on. So again, that's always the best advice, to get out of a relationship or something before getting into a new one. I would highly recommend that. And the people that are most successful at this, you'll know, are people say, oh my gosh, I found this relationship, I wasn't even looking. Well, and that's why, because you're being so clear and you were just so firm and so happy in your own personal joy, and you weren't putting things out there that you were incomplete. You did not feel incomplete. You were actually focused just on doing things that gave you joy, your passion. You were doing things that you wanted to do, and you weren't looking for or putting that unrealistic or any expectation on anyone else, because you were firm in that you're a full rounded person just going out the day and just doing what you need to do. And that's often when people meet the right person, because they are a happy, complete, successful looking package. It's what I just said. So that's why when they're now interacting with someone who is that equal happy, successful package, that's when the best things unite, because they're both on the same plane of feeling complete versus an unhealthy, where you have a codependent relationship. That's exactly how you get a codependent relationship or keep one, is by setting unrealistic expectations or continuing to foster, even if they're unconscious to you, things that you're looking for in another person. So that's the worst thing, is to be in a relationship, have really bad baggage, things that you're contributing to as well, but just pushing all the ownership of that onto someone else, just thinking like, oh, I don't need to fix these character flaws about me or work on anything for me. I just need to find that next perfect person that's great, and then I'll have a great relationship. That's pretty naive, right? So do some work on yourself, get out of whatever situation you're in, get rid of these bad habits, and then you'll find that person that has the good habits that you want to start practicing. And then you'll welcome that person and bring them into your realm. Because again, energy, I'm all about energy. So like attracts like. So if you're chaotic and all over the board and you're like a big mess and a train wreck, that's what you're going to attract.
It's true.
So, yeah,
it's totally true.
Yeah.
And discuss this with others that even on, let's say, dating apps, websites, that energy goes out there even that way. It's
Yes,
not like you meet somebody and there's another one just like that. You attract it even through that electronic means because the energy knows no time and space. So you're pulling
correct.
it in that way too. So don't think that swiping away is like this is the fresh ground for me. It's not. You're attracting what what you're putting out there, and if it's chaos, you're getting it. So let's take that principle. You want to get another job. You feel that you deserve another position, abundance. You have this job over here. Can't really let go of that one before you get that one. So, talking about the relationships a little bit different. So, how does that look?
That is, as they kind of said, always dress and act in accordance of the next job you want, right? So if you're in a job that you hate, I'm sorry that you hate your job, but showing up late, being rude to people, doing your tasks half-ass or not well at all, it's not going to present you forward, and it's not going to bring that energy of welcoming the next new job to you, right? So even if you can't literally get out of the job you're in that you hate,
Hmm.
turn it around mentally. I mean, there might be things you hate about it, but again, just like relationships, there's baggage here, right? So clean up this act. It's always about, again, I'm all about nature. So I kind of think of it as like your life's a garden and you got to weed it, right? All beautiful gardens look great because someone's there weeding them, right? So you have to take out the things that no longer serve you. That's what we talked about, releasing things, always releasing to make room for more. And it also gets rid of the baggage and the energy attached to all the negative things, right? Because again, it's really energetically, you want to be presenting yourself for your next job, dress for your next job, right? Act like you have a new, fresh job. So then you'll bring that into your realm.
Hmm. Hmm. I'm seeing that. So let's say you're not happy at your job and you're just showing up and you throw on whatever clothes, whatever. Take it from the standpoint of I'm going to do the best possible I can here as if it was the new job. So
Yes,
you dress really well. You put the effort in. All of that. I get it. I see it.
yeah,
It's almost
it's
like
practice.
here's the job over here that you want. You're already living it over here. It's the other details, different location, different boss and all of that, different pay. Uh that's the details over here, but the rest of it, you're already living that life.
Yes, yes.
Mm.
Then it's so easy when you just step into it. It's not a new thing like, oh my God, now I got to go out and get a haircut. I have to decide that I want to get a better eating plan in place. I should do, it's all these shoulds. Now your mind is again just filled with all these unnecessary tasks rather than actually looking for a new job. You've already got that slate cleaned out, so that's why exactly it. Live the role like you already have a new job that you're wanting. Start getting your body prepared, presenting yourself forward with that way. Get your mindself to be focused on all the new things, and I think that will all clear the
Sure.
way for energetically and in physical reality. You'll be noticed. You'll
And, ju-
get
and
yourself out of that.
and just to be clear, it's not like you're pretending that this job is the one you're going to keep and want.
Correct.
It's the principles of manifestation where you're already living this new life here. It just hasn't fully materialized. Holly, we're just about out of time. I love talking with you. You're like, lightning fast, and your energy is like way on. You're vibing high, vibing high. How do we find you? How do we start a conversation and make those changes?
Sure. ilovenature.com is my nonprofit. And that's again where you'll find all these just founding principles. And I love to refer people to other sites. There's Humanities Team, the Shift Network. I am a educator, long-term student by nature. Lots of free resources to go out there and just learn about a lot of things that will help you and get you fundamentals in place. And then the second site would be New Leaf Humanity, like leaves on a tree, newleafhumanity.solar. And that's where, if you have all these things in place and you're actually ready to take action, that's where I'm offering my services to actually help you. So that would be the second step. But if you're just looking to get some groundwork or just some good resources, I would explore I Love Nature, like EYE, ilovenature.com, because I think that will have a lot of good insights there of where you might go if you're just starting out.
Yeah, for sure. And even help you remove the obstacles that may be in the way, or just kind of figure out who you are. It's all right there. Holly, great having you on here. Fantastic. And looking forward next time we get together.
Me too, as always. Have a great day.
Oh, by the way, the Lions Gate is open.
It
Feel
is.
free to walk through.
Step through the triple infinity portal.
And there you go. We'll be right back.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
Mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house. And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned.
This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.